We're heading out on our 4th annual Leave 'em Wild trip, and this year, we're Arizona bound. 9 days, living out of our Subarus, chasing slower mornings and dirt roads. We're kicking things off in Ogden and heading south tonight, with a little surprise planned for the morning, stopping in and picking up my parents, Yagi and Opa, down in Kanab. Haboo! We'll make our way down to set up camp just north of Kanab, where the desert's starting to feel like it's opening up and things are getting a little bit more wild. Alright, most important stop of the trip. This is Leave 'em Wild. Let's go! There's something about waking up in nature. No expectations, no noise, just existing. This morning, it was a sunrise spilling over the red rocks, with us tucked quietly under the trees. Here's camp number 1. It is so beautiful. Hopefully I'm gonna show it. It's so pretty right now. We're about to just pack up camp. We got in at like 11:30 last night. But we're gonna pack up camp and go surprise my parents. We're like 10 minutes from their house. But it's just so pretty. Look at this. Like, are you kidding me? Oh my god, it's so pretty. We're camping. Waking up like this feels slower, wilder, like time stretched a little wider out here. We packed up camp, hit the road, and made our way into Kanab. Running on morning magic at this point, because you know we didn't dig out the coffee. Even with all 3 kids running around, we still managed to get camp broken down in about 20 minutes or so, and made our way on the road. We're on our way down the canyon. We gotta get gas, and then next stop is where? Ollendorff! Yay! Somehow, some way, we pulled it off in surprising Yagi and Opa bright and early. I checked this morning. I was like, she's got it off. Once we got everyone situated, we made some breakfast, opened up the tents, and got everything ready for a last round of prep before we headed out to Sedona tomorrow.
Okay, so what's currently happening, Mom? I got too much mud in my lock on my Max Tracks, and now I can't get my Max Tracks off. So it's a good thing we found out now, right? Not when we're out playing in the mud. So what to do? Because I'm trying to put the rack on here for my tank. But to do that, I gotta take the strap off. Take the strap off, I gotta take this off. Gotta watch her. It's like she's gonna knock her.
The more stuff you have, the more problems you have. The Subaru with the shit on it. It's always got problems.
Showing up early definitely threw Yagi's plans off just a little bit. Sorry about that, Mom. But she rolled with it and got her car packed and all ready to go. So, we made our way into Kanab for some seriously good burgers from this little fancy roadside trailer, and enjoyed it out of the back of my dad's Tacoma. Later, we found ourselves at the Brown Box for dessert. A Kanuki, warm and gooey, was totally worth it. We of course had to walk a little bit that off, so we decided to wander around town, soaking in the last bit of the day before heading back home and calling it a night. For the first leg of this trip, we are waking up, having a nice breakfast, and making our way towards Marble Canyon. First stop, Jacob Lake for the cookies. This is a non-negotiable. From there, we head towards Marble Canyon, watching the landscape slowly shift around us. If you look closely, you can actually see 3 condors hanging out on the bottom below the second bridge. Fun fact, they are one of the most successful wildlife comebacks in North America. With finally enough drivers, we were able to get this epic shot. From here, we'll make our way towards Marble Canyon National Monument. Next up was my favorite stop, the Trading Post in Cameron. It's just one of those places you have to visit every time. First, we stop at the Visitor Center to grab the kids' Junior Rangers and learn a little bit of history before we start heading down the stairs.
As recently as the mid-1200s, families lived, worked, and played in Walnut Canyon, tending crops on the rim, traveling to gather food, and collecting water from the canyon bottom were part of daily routine.
The cliff dwellings were on both sides, and they seem to appear to be in just a couple of the layers. Do prepare yourself to go down a ton of stairs and then back up the stairs. If you have little kids, we recommend bringing your carrier.
Mommy, she's in a cliff dwelling. What's a ponderosa pine smell like?
Like butter caramel. Like a butter caramel.
Butter caramel, yeah, it's good, huh?
It smells good.
Homemade noise.
What's this? Can you tell me what's going on? Nope.
Homemade noise. I'm out of here.
Of course, we had to do a Junior Ranger. This was their first of many bus trips.
I'd like to do my best
To preserve and protect
to preserve and protect
my national parks
my national parks
and the lands of my community.
and the lands in my community.
After that, it was getting closer to the evening, so we decided to make our way towards camp. Tonight's campsite was at the top of Schnelby Hill Trail, and we got one of the last campsites that allowed campfires. This was our shot. Holy cow.
Very good peace signs.
It was so cool to watch the sunset over Sedona. With a couple of Junior Rangers, a campfire, and a good meal, we called it a night. Today we'll drive from Sedona all the way to Peralta Regional Park. We woke up at the top of Schnelby Hill Trail, tucked above Sedona, and took our time easing into the morning. Breakfast was homemade corned beef hash. Simple, warm, and somehow it always tastes better out here.
Right now we are in the only shady spot in Arizona.
Warming up at camp, right?
Yeah, it's cold.
Morning camp.
Morning camp, yeah.
What do you guys think? Is it warm enough?
Morning camp with me.
We weren't alone this morning. A little wildlife came to say good morning.
See how he's got like growling?
We spent the morning talking, chatting, eating food, really just kind of getting ready for the day and making plans. We packed up camp and slowly made our way down to Sedona. My favorite part about the driving to Sedona is the red rocks just slowly closing you in. Unfortunately, there is always going to be a ton of people on the road, so just mentally prepare. After finding parking spots, we felt that pizza and ice cream were the only right move. Later, we headed out to Tuzigoot National Monument and wandered through the ancient dwellings. We even found a tiny baby bunny tucked among the ruins. Tuzigoot was built over 1,000 years ago and once had over 100 rooms, making it one of the largest pueblos in the Verde Valley.
Your life is fun.
The stranger life.
Well done. Thank you guys.
We ended the day driving out to Peralta Regional Park just east of Phoenix, setting up camp and settling in for a night. Little did we know what tomorrow held.
Bag over there, or
Got the tank there. The only people at camp that they decided they have to burn. Literally, like maybe 100 meters back behind my car up in the hill there, just fucking burning.
Let me quickly explain what's happening. It is 6:30 in the morning, and we have the kids still sleeping, and these guys decided it was the perfect time to come rudely wake us up and tell us that they were going to be starting a controlled burn right behind our tent. Mind you, we are the only people camped here. Let me pause this for just a second and explain what was actually going on. We are not naive to the fact that people have to do their job. It's just the concept of the fact that they had the entire park to do this controlled burn, and they decided that this was the place they were going to start. This park is huge. They did not have to start here. And if you're wondering how we got it resolved, the people at Peralta Regional Park actually responded within 5 minutes of our email and were able to get a manager out and comp our stay, along with apologizing for the crew's behavior. The crew, however, did not care to come over and say hi to us, and in fact mocked us the entire time. So if you happen to know this vehicle or anyone on this crew, tell them how lovely it was, and that their friends over at Leave 'em Wild say hi. Since we were up so early, we decided we were going to make the best of it and pack up and get going to our next location. But on the way, we happened to spot a Gila monster crossing the road, so that was pretty cool. We actually also saw a rattlesnake just after this. I just wasn't quick enough for the camera. We packed up camp at Peralta Regional Park and hit the road heading south. By the afternoon, we pulled into the cutest little hip camp just outside of Subaru National Park West. Quiet, tucked away, and surrounded by cactus in every direction. Camp Subaru is a small, privately owned campground close to Subaru National Park West. It's perfect for the camper vans, tents, tiny trailers, plus it has this cute little mushroom house that we ended up staying at, along with another little house right behind it. On the property, there is private little campfires for each little spot, along with a community campfire, and there is also showers, a washing bin with warm water, and 2 stalls for a bathroom. There is also a spot where you can charge up things. Just note that it is not near the campsites, it's over by the community center. They also have a washer and dryer to get everything washed. Just make sure to bring cash. We unpacked all of our camp gear at the Mushroom House, just enough to settle in before figuring out how to spend the afternoon. With a few hours to spare, we headed over to the Arizona Sonora Desert Museum and wandered around. There are so many reptiles, desert animals, and hands-on exhibits tucked into the landscape. It's one of those places that is way more fun than you would expect.
I heard that.
I can hear the water in there.
We're camp explorers!
The kids were all about it, especially in the playground area, which might have been the highlight for them. Here's a fun fact. The Arizona Sonora Desert Museum isn't just a museum. It's actually about 85% outdoors and designed to feel like you're walking through the real desert. So instead of traditional indoor exhibits, most of the animals and plants are naturalistic habitats, which feels more like a zoo, botanical garden, and a museum all in one. Since we got here close to closing, we quickly walked through and then headed home to the Mushroom House for the night, had a little fire, and said goodnight to everybody. We woke up slow, made some breakfast, and then headed out to explore Subaru National Park West. The kids jumped right into their junior ranger books, and we made our way through the park, just exploring with one goal: find a spot for lunch. We ended up at the Cactus Run Trail and decided to hike up a bit after we had some snacks, which led us to something even better. There's petroglyphs tucked into the rocks at the top of this hill. Fun fact, the iconic wild cactus we see all over the national park doesn't even start growing arms until it's around 50 to 75 years old. So those big classic cactus with arm shapes, they are all the elders, and they can live up to 150 to 200 years old and grow over 40 feet tall. That's just crazy. Next, we made our way to Mission San Javier del Bac, rising up bright white against the desert. It is often called the White Dove of the Desert and is one of the oldest intact European structures in Arizona, originally founded in the late 1600s and is still active today. Next morning, we packed up and hit the road towards Tombstone. We wandered the old streets, stepped into a bit of the Wild West, and even got our old-time photos taken, fully leaning into the moment. There is so much history there, from dusty boardwalks to stories of the famous gunfight at the OK Corral. Fun fact, the shootout in Tombstone in 1881 only lasted about 30 seconds, but became one of the most legendary moments in Wild West history. From there, we made our way to Crosstrek Cavern State Park and set up camp for the night. Really close to the most incredible cave systems in Arizona. Unfortunately for YouTube, we do not have any videos of our time underground, Please, they do not allow cameras or phones in the cave system. For our final day on the trip, we didn't film a lot, but we did make our way back up to Phoenix with the intention of originally camping somewhere else. However, they decided to turn us away, so we made our way back out to Peralta Road Regional Park and set up camp for one last epic sunset. From the first mile out of Ogden to the last night being tucked in Peralta Regional Park, this is the 4th annual Leave a Mile trip, reminding us why we keep doing this. We started with Subarus packed tightly, coffee stops, and a long drive south, surprising Yagi and Opa and Kanab, laughing at how quickly plans shifted when you show up early, and settling into the rhythm of the desert. Each day felt like its own little world. Sunrise over the Red Rock camps, homemade meals on the tailgates, kids exploring the ruins and earning junior ranger badges, and wildlife just casually sharing the space like we belong there too. We ate cookies at Jacob's Lake, wandered Marble Canyon, chased burgers and Canuckies in Kanab, and stood inside ancient places like Tuzigoot and Walnut Canyon, wondering about the people who once called this home. We felt the quiet power of Subaru National Park, learned history at San Javier del Bac, and walked through the wild streets of Tucson like time had just bent a little. Somewhere between the desert museums, hidden trails, petroglyphs, caves, and campfires, the trip stopped feeling like a route and started feeling like a rhythm. Slower mornings, dusty feet, and long drives with no rush to be anywhere else. Maybe that's really the point of all of this. Leave 'em Wild isn't about where we're going, it's about what's happening when we're all together. We waved goodbye to Yagi, right outside of Phoenix, as she decided to make her trip to the East Coast. We headed back towards Kanab to drop off Opa, first making a stop at Wapaki National Monument and doing a little lake stretch down at the ball court. This is Leave 'em Wild. Thank you for watching.